Let's dive into the biggest plot holes in Frasier. Martin never had a brother, until he did. In Season 1's Author, Frasier and Niles locked themselves in a hotel room to write a book, only to start tearing each other apart immediately.
You haven't written a thing all day except to ruin a perfectly good opening sentence.
I was merely finishing it. It was an incomplete thought.
Oh, you're an incomplete thought!
Martin tries to mediate by telling a story about sibling rivalry. He opens with a line that, at the time, seems entirely throwaway.
I never had a brother.
Okay, Martin is an only child. Noted. But then 4 seasons later, in Beware of Greeks, a man called Walt Crane materializes out of thin air.
This is Nikos, my father's brother's son.
Well, I would have never pegged you for a crane.
Walt is Martin's brother. He has a wife named Zora, a son called Nikos, and an estrangement from the Crane family that is treated as long-established backstory.
But you know, I can't find Walt. I've been waiting 5 years for this reunion.
He must be here somewhere.
No explanation is offered for the Season 1 line. The writers simply chose to pretend they'd never put it out into the world.
There he is!
Well, this is so exciting. You two must have so much to talk about. Uncle Walt, hello! Frasier!
Martin's Season 1 speech was a wise, paternal moment, the kind of thing the series does brilliantly. He was drawing on his own experience to help his sons, his own experience of not having a brother that he definitely had. The language Frasier cannot speak, except when he can. An Affair to Forget is one of the finest episodes Frasier ever produced, an Emmy-winning farce built on a chain of mistranslations, a fencing duel, and Niles dangling from a chandelier. But directly under that chandelier is a gigantic plot hole.
I'm sorry, I don't speak German.
It means my little liver dumpling.
The whole episode hinges on the fact that Frasier does not speak German. A caller's love letter arrives in German. Frasier cannot read it, and a 3-way translation chain, German to Spanish to English, is established, each step introducing new and hilarious misunderstandings.
Das konnte ich mir jetzt nicht helfen, weißt du. Die Maris ist unwiderstehlich.
He couldn't help himself. Maris is irresistible.
It is comic genius, chef's kiss. But there is one problem. Frasier Crane could speak German on Cheers.
Tell him I didn't touch his wife. Bitte, es ist ein Fehler. Dieser ist der falsche Mann.
He also conveniently remembers how to speak it again in a later episode of Frasier.
In fact, I do speak a bit of German. Nehmen einfach nicht zur Kenntnis.
Ja, ich verstehe, du meinst, ja. ja.
None of which makes the Season 2 episode any less brilliant. Maybe it just shows that sometimes when dealing with a character who has been on screen for 20 years, it's better to skate over the lapses of logic and just enjoy the laughs. The wound that changed location.
Could you give me a hand here?
Well, I would, except I sprained my shoulder.
Bullet in the hip.
Martin Crane was shot in the hip in the line of duty, and it is that wound, the cane, the limited mobility, the reason he moves in with Frasier in the first place, that underpins the emotional architecture of the series.
You look great. Don't BS me, I do not look great.
The shooting is what births the entire premise of the show. It is also a shooting that, depending on which season you are watching, happened in 2 different places. In Season 1's Death Becomes Him, Martin tells Frasier a story about watching a colleague get shot during a drug bust and learning to overcome his fear of dark doors and alleyways.
Next time I came to one of those doors, I went right through it. The fact that I got shot in the hip was purely coincidental.
Then comes Season 9's The Return of Martin Crane, where the whole event is dramatized in flashback. Martin and his partner Frank are near the end of their shift. Frank wants a drink.
We go to a convenience store. There's a robbery in progress. I get shot.
A convenience store, in the middle of the afternoon, with his partner wanting a slushie. This shooting underpins the entire series, and the series can't even pin down where it happened. The wine club that rewrote its own history. The Crane Boys Wine Club is one of the most reliable running jokes, an institution that Frasier and Niles treat with the reverence others reserve for major religions.
At the end of the evening, Brewster tendered his resignation.
That must have put a damper on the evening.
Well, not really. I'm the new president.
It is also a running joke that, like a frisky young Beaujolais, simply couldn't be tamed.
Big, full-bodied, perhaps a bit baked.
In Season 1, Niles becomes the club's president following a prank on a member called Brewster Kale.
When he thought he was tasting a Chateau Petrus, he was in fact sipping a Forcus Dupre. You see, we'd switched the labels.
He holds the post. It happens on screen. Then, in Season 7's Wine Club, Niles runs for the position of Corkmaster, which is apparently what the top role is now called, as though he has never held any position in the club at all.
Hail, Corkmaster, the master of the cork. He knows which wine goes with fish or pork.
The title of the top position shifts across the series from president to Corkmaster to maitre d'eche.
It's a long-standing dream of mine to wear that silver cup around my neck.
The likely explanation? The writers simply used whatever word had the best mouthfeel in a given week. And if you would watch a full deep dive into the full history of the Crane Boys and their love for wine, hit subscribe so you don't miss out. The honeymoon that covered all of Europe.
She's been kidnapped. Someone's using her credit cards.
Yeah, okay, yeah, all right, slow down. Armani, Valentino, Cartier, Tiffany.
Any restaurants?
Any restaurants? Not a one. She's alive! Oh.
Niles and Maris went on a honeymoon. We can all agree on that. Where they went on that honeymoon, however, is a question the show answers differently every time it comes up. In Season 1, Niles references a glockenspiel he and Maris bought on their honeymoon in Zurich.
I brought it down from the attic to remind Maris of better times.
In Season 3, he describes a chair in his living room that he and Maris picked out on their honeymoon in Vienna.
Here? The chair that Maris and I picked out on our honeymoon in Vienna?
But remember, you wanted to buy the chair that you saw in Paris.
And then in Season 11, Martin looks at an old photograph of Niles and Maris and asks if it was taken on their honeymoon, and Niles confirms it.
That is the experimental liposuction center in Gstaad. So yes.
Now, one could argue that Niles and Maris simply had an extended European honeymoon that took in multiple cities, which, given Maris's spending habits, is entirely plausible. The other explanation? Their honeymoon was a movable feast, and the writers were dining out. Niles' heart condition.
Maris was so distraught thinking I might have cold feet. Never forget how relieved she was to learn it was just a congenital heart murmur that would plague me for the rest of my life.
In Season 2, specifically in the same episode where Sam visits Seattle, Niles makes a passing reference to a congenital heart murmur, just as a throwaway detail, something the show establishes and then, for 7 seasons, ignores. Then comes Season 10. Niles develops a toothache, convinces himself it is cardiac in origin, and undergoes heart surgery in one of the most emotional storylines of the show's final years.
How's tomorrow afternoon?
No. Niles, you need to go right now.
The discovery of his heart condition is treated with real gravity. It draws Niles and Daphne closer together.
Hey!
The issue here is that Niles Crane is a man who spent 11 years as primetime TV's reigning hypochondriac-in-chief. He has a documented congenital heart murmur, mentioned in Season 2. And yet by Season 10, when he develops a serious condition, he seems genuinely surprised. This is a man who once convinced himself a paper cut was the onset of septicemia. The cat allergy that simply stopped.
Well, I love cats. I have a cat. Would you like to meet Louis?
No, it's allergies.
In Season 3's It's Hard to Say Goodbye If You Won't Leave, Kate Costas's farewell episode, it is established that Frasier is severely allergic to cats. The allergy is played to the hilt for physical comedy.
Louis getting to you, isn't he?
But by Season 11's The Placeholder, Frasier is cat-sitting a neighbor's cat called Mr. Bottomsley. He lives with this cat in his apartment.
Allergies. Not really much of a pet person.
Oh, really?
He talks to Mr. Bottomsley at length. He is not sneezing and his eyes are not watering. He shows absolutely no sign of any allergic response whatsoever.
Come on, buddy. Well, isn't this civilized? Peter, Daddy, there's none for you.
The allergy simply ceased to exist between season 3 and season 11, which is, medically speaking, not how cat allergies work. Marta speaks no English, except when she does.
Ik weiß niet.
Marta! You speak German?
Okay?
Niles' housekeeper Marta, introduced in the already mentioned An Affair to Forget, speaks no English. The communication issues this creates is a recurring device. And then, in season 3's The Last Time I Saw Maris, Marta speaks English fluently.
Dr. Crane,
Yes, Marta?
Missy Crane give me message for you. If you say it's all your fault, you don't have to leave.
Nobody reacts with surprise. She simply speaks English, as though she always has done.
I can stay?
She waiting upstairs.
The show needed her to communicate in that scene, so she communicated, and since the established language barrier was no longer useful, it was put to one side. The changing romantic histories.
No, really. I've never had a serious boyfriend. No one's really been interested.
Men can be such pigs.
Niles and Daphne's romantic history is a very carefully constructed slow burn. Part of what makes it work is that both of them are, in their different ways, late bloomers. In season 1, Daphne explicitly says she has never had a serious boyfriend. In season 3, it is established that Niles had never dated anyone other than Maris.
Oh, let's count. There's Maris. Oh, no. Dora, my childhood pen pal from Costa Rica.
And then the show simply contradicted both of them.
Hello.
Hello.
Look at you, you look wonderful.
In season 4, Daphne's ex-fiancé Clive arrives in Seattle. She was engaged to him for 2 years.
So, what brings you to Seattle?
My undying love for you. Oh, damn, I meant to lead up to that. Sorry.
And in season 11, Niles casually references a girlfriend he had throughout college.
I seem to recall you poaching another man's fiancée once.
Oh, Daphne, I was in college. Oh, you mean...
Two characters who had been established as romantically inexperienced turned out to have quite active romantic pasts. The writers gave with one hand and took back with the other, hoping the audience's collective memory would not stretch far enough to notice. Or that they wouldn't care, in which case, fair enough. Pregnant or virgin?
Reminds me of the salmon they served on the aeroplane. Oh, if it doesn't have me hurling me guts out, it'll be by God's own intervention.
Gertrude Moon is a magnificently awful creation, emotionally manipulative, and almost impossible to spend time with. She is also a character whose fundamental beliefs about her own daughter appear to shift fundamentally between seasons.
You're not moving the party in here.
Oh, Daphne, don't get your blood pressure up. You've got your baby to think of.
In season 7's Something Borrowed, Someone Blue, Gertrude behaves as though Daphne might well be pregnant, even warning her that she has her baby to think of. Then in season 9's Motherload, Gertrude arrives in Seattle and, seeing Daphne with Niles, she announces,
Simon Moon, bite your tongue. My baby girl's a virgin. Isn't that so, Daphne?
Who actually had the affair? The story of Hester Crane's infidelity is one of the show's most emotionally layered backstories. It is handled with real care and produces a moment of genuine connection between Martin and Frasier.
I loved your mother. So did I.
It is also a storyline that has to pave over a major plot hole. Early in the series, Martin tells Niles and Frasier that he was the one who had the affair, that he had been unfaithful to their mother Hester.
I had an affair. It happened a long time ago, and it's not anything I'm proud of.
He carries this as a source of private guilt.
Why didn't you tell me it was Mom?
Because it was none of your damn business, and it still isn't.
Look, Dad, I don't blame you for being defensive, but I had a right to know.
The revelation that it was actually Hester who had the affair, that Martin had been covering for her out of guilt and grief, is presented as a significant dramatic moment.
You know, Dad, ever since you moved in here, we've been trying to find something that we have in common, and I think we finally found it.
But it also raises the question of why Martin told his sons the opposite story in the first place, and why the mechanics of his deception were never quite explained. He blamed himself for Hester's behavior. That much is eventually established.
Yeah. Wish it was a birthmark.
So do I.
But the specific logic of why he constructed the lie the way he did, told it to his own children, and maintained it. That is a retcon dressed up as a revelation. When exactly was Frasier born?
The cold, hard reality is, you're middle-aged.
Niles, I'm 41. That's hardly middle-aged. Middle-aged is more like 50, 55.
And finally, we arrive at the most personal plot hole of all, the one concerning the title character himself. Frasier's age and birthday are a continuity minefield. In Season 1, he is repeatedly said to be 41, which points neatly to a 1952 birth year. Season 7's The Late Dr. Crane even puts that on screen, giving his dates as 1952 to 1999.
After checking into the hospital with what appeared to be minor injuries from a fender bender, radio psychiatrist Frasier Crane died suddenly today.
But the birthday itself wanders all over the calendar. At one point, Frasier flatly says his birthday is in March. Elsewhere, the show builds an entire birthday episode around events that appear to place it in May.
Oh, and look what I got. A newspaper from the day you were born.
I keep telling you to clean out that closet of yours.
And in Backtalk, Martin gives him a newspaper from the day he was born, only for Daphne to read a headline about Queen Elizabeth having another baby. A historical detail that would make sense for 4 different birth years, none of which are 1952.
Good Lord, Queen Elizabeth had another baby. I don't care what science can do, it's just not right.
So depending on which episode you choose to believe, Frasier Crane was born in 1952, possibly in March, possibly around May, and somehow also on a day when Queen Elizabeth was having a child she definitely was not having in 1952.
Happy birthday, Frasier!
Frasier was a brilliantly crafted series in every way that actually mattered. But let's be honest, in the background some wonky details just slipped through. 11 seasons, 264 episodes, as well as an entire prequel series. Holding it all together was an almost impossible task. It is a testament to how great the show is that none of it, not one entry on this list, makes you love it any less. As always, Martin Crane was dead, and Niles didn't exist.
What did he tell you about me, Sam? The father, the old cop.
He told me you were dead.
The most foundational plot hole in the Frasier universe isn't buried deep in Season 9. It's in the core premise of the show. When Frasier was hanging out at Cheers in Boston, he told his friends, on more than one occasion, that his father was dead.
Dead?
Well, we had an argument. He called me a stuffed shirt and hung up on me. I was mad.
He also neglected to mention that he had a brother.
This is strange, I gotta tell you. See, I didn't know he had a brother.
As we all know, Frasier then moved back to Seattle, where his father is alive and well. To the show's credit, it addressed this head-on in Season 2, when Ted Danson's Sam Malone visits Seattle and meets Martin for the first time.
You're a cop? You told me he was a research scientist.
You were dead! What did it matter?
Frasier's explanation, that he and Martin had had a furious argument, and he told everyone his father was dead out of spite, just about papers over the cracks. But the research scientist part is still pretty weird, as it's quite a specific lie to be telling.
Frasier, I don't mind telling you I'm a little offended that in all the time you spent swapping bon mot with the beer nut set, you never once mentioned you had a brother.
And it still doesn't explain why Frasier never mentioned Niles, who simply did not exist during his Boston years. Not a single mention.
Truth is, I bet he said something. It's just that when Frasier gets going, you kind of have to tune him out.
John Mahoney and Peri Gilpin, Deja Vu. To add further oddness to the whole Martin Crane retcon situation, the man who played Martin, John Mahoney, had already appeared in the Cheers universe.
Oh, thanks for pointing that out. Being born and raised here, I never would have known.
In 1992, a year before the Frasier pilot, he guest starred in the Cheers episode, Do Not Forsake Me, Oh My Postman, as Cy Flembeck, a jingle writer hired by Rebecca to compose an advertising tune for the bar.
What's the matter, babe? You can't work with a man you're attracted to?
Oh, God.
He and Frasier Crane share a scene. They even talk.
Excuse me, isn't that just old MacDonald's farm?
When old MacDonald pays me $200, it'll be old MacDonald's farm.
And then, a year later, Kelsey Grammer looks up from the Frasier pilot script, and this same man is playing his father.
Oh, that's rather refreshing. But I was expecting you to call me every name from a naive dupe to a boneheaded rube.
How John Mahoney ended up on Frasier is a slice of TV serendipity. The original actor hired to play Cy Flembeck made it through dress rehearsal, then left on show night and drove straight off the lot. James Burrows brought in Mahoney, whom he'd seen on stage. That one-off Cheers appearance helped put him in the minds of the Frasier team. When NBC subsequently pre-approved him and Mahoney read the pilot, the deal was done. Similarly, Peri Gilpin also appeared in the Boston Bar before moving on to Frasier. She played a reporter named Holly Matheson in the final season.
Oh, I get it. This is your hook. You're the innocent farm boy telling the big city slickers to clean up the barn and all that farm crap.
And Gilpin had a similar sliding doors casting moment. The role of Roz was originally given to future Friends star Lisa Kudrow before the producers had a last-minute change of heart. Check out our Frasier Facts videos for more on that story.
I'm listening.